My parents blackmailed me with my past to give my house to my sister, so I destroyed their lives with the truth. What's up, Reddit? Never thought I'd be the woman typing out her family trauma for internet strangers, but here we are. Grab some popcorn because this one's a ride. I'm 26 now. This chase started when I was 19, and it's been hanging over my head like a guillotine ever since until last month when I finally found out the truth. And let me tell you, when I say I scorched the earth, I mean I left nothing but ashes. First, you need to understand my family dynamic. I've got a younger sister, Emily, who's 23. She's been the golden child since the day she was born. I'm talking can-do, no-wrong levels of favoritism that would make a sitcom writer say, "Dial it back, that's too unrealistic." Me, I was the backup kid, the one they had before they figured out how parenting was supposed to work. Apparently, Emily got everything. New car at 16, full ride to college that they paid for, designer everything, European vacations. I got lectures about responsibility and a used Toyota with 180,000 miles that I had to buy myself. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bitter about the car or the money. I'm bitter about the fact that Emily could burn down an orphanage, and our parents would blame the orphans for being too flammable. Meanwhile, I brought home a B+ and got a 30-minute lecture about wasting my potential. Growing up, it was constant. Emily's room was always the bigger one, the nicer one. When we moved houses when I was 14, I got the basement bedroom with the tiny window near the ceiling. Emily got the master bedroom on the second floor because she needs natural light for her art projects. Her art projects, by the way, consisted of buying expensive supplies that sat unused in the corner while she watched Netflix. Every Christmas was a joke. Emily would get a pile of presents worth easily $2,000 to $3,000. Gaming systems, designer clothes, jewelry, concert tickets. My pile was always practical. Chitty. Socks, deodorant, a $50 gift card to Target. One year they got her a trip to Paris for her 18th birthday. For mine, a card that said, "Happy birthday," with $20 inside, and a note that said, "Treat yourself to dinner." I treated myself to Chipotle and put the rest toward my electrician's exam fees. Emily never worked a day in her life, dropped out of college after 2 years because it was too stressful. Now she lives with her deadbeat boyfriend, Justin, in my parents' basement making TikToks and complaining about how hard life is. She's got a photography business that's generated maybe $400 in 3 years. Our parents subsidize her entire existence. Justin is a whole other story. Dude's 25, never had a job longer than 3 months. Constantly has some new business idea that requires money but never generates any. Last year it was NFTs. Before that, it was a podcast about conspiracy theories that got 7 total downloads, 5 of which were probably him checking to see if it uploaded correctly. I, on the other hand, have been working since I was 15, saved every penny, put myself through community college while working full-time, got a job as an electrician, busted my ass for years, got my master electrician license, and finally saved enough to buy a small house last year. Nothing fancy. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, built in 1978. Needed work, but it was mine. I spent 6 months fixing it up. New floors, updated electrical, obviously, fresh paint, renovated bathroom. Turned it from a fixer-upper into something I was proud of. My parents came by once during the renovation, stayed for 10 minutes, and spent the whole time talking about how Emily was thinking about maybe possibly looking into perhaps getting a photography certification program. Maybe someday when she felt ready. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to when I was 19. It was summer, right after my first year of community college. I was living at home, working construction during the day, taking night classes, saving every dollar I could. My plan was to get my own place by 21, get my electrician's license by 23, and never have to depend on my parents for anything ever again. My parents decided to throw this random backyard BBQ. They did this sometimes. Invite a bunch of their friends over, grill some burgers, drink wine, pretend we were a functional family. Usually, I'd find an excuse to work late or hang out with friends. But that day, I was legitimately tired and just wanted to crash in my room. My mom insisted I stay. Said it would be rude not to socialize with their friends, which was rich considering she never gave a shansh about my social life any other time. That's when I met Brittany. My mom introduced us, made a big deal of it actually, pulled me aside and said, "There's someone I want you to meet." She dragged me over to where Brittany was standing by the pool looking at her phone. "Brittany, this is my daughter I told you about." Brittany is the daughter of some friends from church. She had just graduated high school. Brittany was cute, blonde hair, blue eyes, really confident energy. She looked at me and smiled. "Hey, your mom said you're in college. What are you studying?" We hit it off immediately. She was funny, easy to talk to, seemed genuinely interested in what I was saying. We talked about music, movies, random shagto. She told me she'd just graduated high school and was taking a gap year before college, wanted to travel, figure out what she wanted to do with her life. I was 19. She said she was 18. I had literally zero reason to question it. She looked like she could be 18, acted mature, mentioned graduating high school, which would make sense for 18. Everything added up. As the party went on, we kept gravitating toward each other. My mom kept giving me these weird, encouraging looks, which should have been my first red flag. My mom never encouraged me to do anything social, but I was 19 and there was a pretty girl paying attention to me, so I ignored my instincts. As the party wound down and people started leaving, Brittany asked if I wanted to show her my car. I had this old Mustang I'd been restoring. Nothing fancy, but it was my project. We went out to the garage. We sat in the car just talking for a while, about life, about what we wanted to do with our futures, about how weird parents could be. The conversation flowed naturally. Then she kissed me. One thing led to another, and yeah, we hooked up in my car. Nothing weird, nothing forced, nothing that would make you think twice about it. Just two young adults doing what young adults do. She was enthusiastic, fully participating, clearly into it. There was zero indication anything was wrong. She left with her parents later that night. We exchanged numbers. I figured maybe we'd hang out again. She texted me that night, saying she had fun, and we messaged back and forth for a few days. Then the messages just stopped. I figured she'd met someone else or lost interest. That's how dating goes sometimes. I felt good about it, normal, like maybe this was the start of something or maybe it was just a fun night. Either way, it felt like a positive experience. 3 weeks after that party, my whole world imploded. I was in class, electrical theory, one of my tougher courses, when my phone started blowing up. Missed calls from both parents, then a text from my mom, "Come home now, emergency." Then another, "This is serious, leave now." I drove home thinking someone had died. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Had there been an accident? Was someone in the hospital? My mind was racing through every terrible possibility. When I walked in, both my parents were sitting in the living room with these devastated looks on their faces. Emily was nowhere to be seen, which was unusual. Later, I found out they'd sent her to a friend's house before I got home. "Sit down," my dad said. His voice was different, cold, distant, like he was talking to a stranger. My mom was crying, like full sobbing into a tissue. Her eye makeup was running down her face. "What happened?" I asked. "Is everyone okay? Did someone die?" "We need to talk about Brittany," my dad said. My stomach dropped. "What about her?" I couldn't breathe. Literally felt like someone was standing on my chest. The room started spinning. "That's not—" She told me she was 18, I stammered. "She said she just graduated high school. I didn't force anything. She wanted to. She initiated it." "It doesn't matter what you think happened," my dad said. "She's a minor. You're an adult. Do you understand what that means? Her parents are furious." My mom cut me off, her voice shaking. "They want you arrested. They want you on the sex offender registry. They want you in prison." I felt like I was going to throw up. Prison. Sex offender registry. My life was over. I was 19 years old, and my entire future had just been erased in one conversation. Everything I'd been working toward, my electrician's license, my own place, a normal life, gone. I'd be a convicted felon, a registered sex offender. No one would hire me. I'd be lucky to get a job cleaning toilets. My dad looked disgusted. Not at the situation, at me, like I was something he'd scraped off his shoe. "Do you understand what you've done? The position you've put this family in?" "I didn't know," I kept saying over and over. "I swear to God, I didn't know she was 15. She told me she was 18. She said she graduated high school. She looked 18. Well, you should have been more careful, he snapped. You should have asked to see her ID. You should have. Who asked to see ID before hooking up with someone? I was starting to panic. She said she was 18. I believed her. I had no reason not to. That's not a defense, my dad said coldly. That's not going to hold up in court. I started crying. Couldn't help it. My whole life was over, and I didn't even fully understand why. I kept thinking about the sex offender registry, about having to go door to door telling neighbors what I'd supposedly done, about never being able to work a decent job or live a normal life. Please, I said. Please, you have to believe me. I didn't know. I would never. It doesn't matter what we believe, my mom said. Her parents have already decided. They've talked to a lawyer. They're ready to file charges. Then my dad told me they'd fixed it. They'd paid Brittany's family $40,000 to make the whole thing go away. Brittany had agreed to recant her accusation. No police, no charges, no trial. It was over. But I needed to understand how serious this was, how I'd almost destroyed my life and theirs. How lucky I was that they'd saved me. $40,000, I whispered. That's what it took to convince them not to destroy your life, my dad said. That's what your mistake cost this family. I should have been relieved. Instead, I just felt sick and scared and guilty. So much guilt, it felt like it was crushing me. They made me promise never to speak about it again, never to contact Brittany or her family, never to tell anyone what had happened, to just move on and be grateful they'd fix my mistake. If anyone finds out about this, it won't matter that the charges were dropped, my mom said. Your life will be over anyway. The accusation alone is enough to ruin you. I promised. What else could I do? For the next 7 years, that secret hung over me like a dark cloud. I paid my parents back every cent of that $40,000. Took me 4 years of working 2 jobs, but I did it. Worked construction during the day. Did residential electrical work at night and on weekends. Lived like a monk. No going out, no dating, no fun. Every extra dollar went to paying them back. Felt like the least I could do after they'd saved me from prison. The guilt was crushing. I'd have nightmares about prison, about being on the registry, about everyone knowing what I'd supposedly done. I'd wake up in cold sweats, heart pounding, convinced someone had found out and called the cops. I threw myself into work, got my electrician's license at 21, started my own small electrical contracting business at 23, saved obsessively. Didn't date much. How could I? Every time I talked to someone, I'd think about Brittany, about how I'd almost ruined a 15-year-old girl's life because I was too stupid to verify her age. The few times I did try dating, it never went anywhere. I couldn't be honest about my past, couldn't explain why I was so paranoid about age verification, couldn't relax enough to form real connections. The guilt ate at me constantly. My relationship with my parents changed after that night. Every interaction carried this undercurrent of debt and obligation. They'd saved me, and I owed them forever. Family dinners became endurance tests. Emily would be going on about her latest failed project or dramatic friend situation, and my parents would hang on every word. I'd try to share something about work, a big contract I'd landed, a complex job I'd completed, and they'd half listen for 30 seconds before changing the subject back to Emily. But if I seemed ungrateful, or if I didn't show up for Sunday dinner, or if I forgot to call my mom on her birthday, they'd remind me. Subtly at first, then not so subtly. After everything we did for you, you can't even show up for dinner. We saved your life. The least you could do is help Emily move. Remember what we sacrificed for you? $40,000. Don't forget that. I never forgot. They made sure of it. I bought my house at 24 with money I'd saved. Nothing fancy. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 100 square feet. Needed work, but it was mine. Paid for with my own hands, my own labor. It was the first thing in my life that felt clean, like maybe I could move past what happened and build something good. My parents came to see it once, walked through like they were touring a crime scene, made comments about how small it was, how the neighborhood wasn't great, how I should have saved more for something nicer. Emily wouldn't want to live here, my mom said, which was a weird comment at the time. I didn't realize it was actually foreshadowing. My parents never let me forget what they'd done for me, though. Every family gathering, there'd be some comment, some reminder of how I'd almost thrown my life away and how they'd saved me. Emily knew about it, too. She'd bring it up during arguments, usually when she was drunk. At least I didn't almost catch a case, she'd sneer. Or, Mom and Dad had to pay $40,000 because you couldn't keep it in your pants. She'd use it as leverage whenever she wanted something. Can you help me move? Or are you too busy? Unlike when Mom and Dad had to drop everything to save your ass. It was a weapon they all used against me. And it worked. I'd do whatever they asked. Lend Emily money, help them with projects, show up for every family obligation because I owed them, because they'd saved me. I met Max about a year before everything blew up. He was a nurse at the hospital where I work on the facility's electrical team. We kept running into each other. Me handling maintenance tickets and rewiring in the older wings, him doing his rounds. He'd bring me coffee sometimes and we'd chat. He was funny, smart, didn't take my semaine from anyone. Had this way of cutting through ball that I found refreshing. After weeks of this, I finally worked up the courage to say yes when he asked me out. Our first date was at this local Mexican place. Nothing fancy, but the conversation flowed. For the first time in years, I felt like I could be myself, almost myself anyway. I still hadn't told him about Brittany. We'd been dating for about 8 months when my parents dropped the house bomb. Max knew something was wrong. I came home from that dinner and just sat in my car for an hour. He called, "Hey, you okay? You were supposed to come over." "Yeah, sorry, family stuff." "Want to talk about it?" "Not really." He showed up at my house anyway, let himself in with the spare key I'd given him, found me on the couch staring at the wall. "What happened?" I wanted to tell him everything, but the fear was too ingrained. If he knew about the accusation, would he believe I was innocent, or would he see me differently? Would he leave? "My parents want me to give my house to my sister," I said instead. "What? That's insane." "Yeah, obviously you said no." "They're threatening me if I don't." He sat down next to me. "Threatening you how?" That's when I should have told him, but I couldn't. The words stuck in my throat. "Just family stuff. Old pup, they're holding over my head." "That's manipulation," he said. "You know that, right?" "I know." "So what are you going to do?" "I don't know." He grabbed my hand. "Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone. I'm here." That's when I realized I could lose him. If my parents went through with their threat and told everyone about the accusation, Max would hear, and he'd hear their version, not the truth, just that I'd been accused of sexual assault. And once that's out there, it doesn't matter what the truth is. The accusation is enough. I couldn't let that happen. The week after that dinner was hell. My parents started calling daily. Text messages, voicemails, all variations of the same theme. Give Emily the house or face the consequences. Emily herself started messaging me. At first, it was fake sweetness. "Hey, big sis, can we talk about this reasonably?" When I didn't respond, the messages got nastier. "You're being selfish. This is why everyone thinks you're an Just give me the house." Justin even got in on it. Sent me this long message about how they deserved the house because they had nothing and I was doing fine. The audacity of this dude who'd never paid rent a day in his life telling me what I deserved. My mom started showing up at my job sites, would just appear while I was working, trying to corner me. "We need to talk about this. You're being unreasonable." "I'm working." "Mom, this is more important than work. Your sister needs—" "I don't care what she needs. She's 23. She can figure it out like I did." "You're so selfish," she'd say. Then she'd start crying. Public manipulation, trying to make me the bad guy in front of my crew. After the third time, my foreman pulled me aside. "Hey, you okay? Your mom keeps showing up and making scenes." "Family stuff," I said. "I'm handling it." "Want me to ban her from the site?" I almost said yes, but I knew that would just escalate things. The breaking point came when Emily showed up at my house. Just walked right in. She still had a key from when she'd helped me move in. I came home from work to find her and Justin sitting in my living room like they owned the place. "What the hell are you doing here?" "We're measuring for furniture," Emily said casually. "Mom said you were going to sign over the house this weekend, so we wanted to get a head start on planning." "Get out." "Don't be dramatic," she said. "We're going to be living here soon anyway." "No, you're not." Justin stood up, trying to look intimidating. Dude was maybe 5'9", and looked like a strong breeze would knock him over. "Listen, ma'am. Your parents did you a solid years ago. Now it's time to return the favor." "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know you were accused of messing with some underage girl," he said. "Emily told me everything. Her parents paid a lot of money to make that go away. Now they're cashing in. That's how family works." I looked at Emily. "You told him?" She shrugged. "He's going to be my husband eventually. We don't have secrets." "Get the cheeshide out of my house, both of you, now." "Or what?" Justin stepped closer. You going to call the cops? That'll be a fun conversation when they find out about your past. That's when something snapped. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Say that again, about my past. On camera this time. His face went pale. I didn't mean, get out. If either of you ever comes into my house without permission again, I'm calling the cops for trespassing and I don't give a care what you tell them. They left, but Emily turned at the door. You're making a huge mistake. Mom and Dad gave you a chance to do this the easy way. Now it's going to get ugly. She was right about that. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Justin's words, about how casually Emily had spilled my biggest secret, about how my parents had created this nightmare and were now weaponizing it against me. I called Derek at 2 a.m. He answered on the third ring, voice groggy. Dude, someone better be dying. I need to talk. He heard something in my voice. Come over. I drove to his apartment and told him everything. The original incident, the accusation, the payment, the years of guilt, the blackmail, all of it. Things I'd never told anyone. Derek listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Think about it. Your parents introduced you to this girl at their own party, at their house. Then 3 weeks later, she accuses you of assault, and they pay $40,000 to make it disappear. So why would they invite a 15-year-old girl to their party in the first place? And why would they introduce her to you specifically? That's weird, Danette. And why didn't her parents just go straight to the cops if she was really assaulted? Why negotiate for money? The gears in my head started turning. Things I'd never questioned before suddenly seemed suspicious. You think they set me up? I think you need to find out what actually happened, Derek said, because this whole thing stinks. And if they're blackmailing you now, who knows what else they've lied about? But why would they do that? Why would my own parents set me up? Control, Derek said simply. Think about it. For 7 years, they've had total power over you. You do whatever they say because you think you owe them. You can't say no. You can't stand up to them. They've got the ultimate leverage. He was right, and I'd been too consumed by guilt to see it. What do I do? Find out the truth, he said. Get evidence and then decide what you want to do with it. The next day, I hired a private investigator. Cost me $3,000 up front, but I needed answers. I gave him everything I remembered. Brittany's full name, approximate age now, should be 22. The neighborhood where her parents lived, or used to live. Anything else I could remember about that night or the weeks after. What exactly are you looking for? The PI asked. The truth, I said. I need to know what really happened. Whether my parents set me up or if I'm just being paranoid. If they did set you up, that's fraud, conspiracy, probably a few other charges. You ready for that? I'm ready for the truth, I said. Whatever it is. 2 weeks later, he called me back. Found her. You're going to want to sit down for this. Brittany was living about 45 minutes away, working as a dental assistant. Still had social media profiles under her maiden name. The PI had done some digging through public records, pulled some threads, found more than I ever expected. Here's what I found, he said. Your parents paid Brittany $15,000 7 years ago. I've got bank records showing the transfer from your mother's personal account to an account Brittany opened specifically for this purpose. They paid her? My heart was racing. They said they paid her parents. Nope. Directly to Brittany, into an account she opened 2 days before the payment was made. The account was at a different bank than her regular checking account, almost like she was trying to hide it. Why would they? There's more. He cut me off. I found text messages between your mother and Brittany from 7 years ago. Your mom's old phone records were subpoenaed in an unrelated civil case last year. Something to do with a property dispute, but they're part of public record now. I pulled them. The blood drained from my face. The messages show your mother specifically instructing Brittany on what to say to you at the party. What do you mean? He read from his notes. Tell her you just graduated high school. Tell her you're taking a gap year. Be flirty, but not too obvious. Let her make the first move. My hands were shaking. These are direct quotes from your mother's text to Brittany, 3 days before the party. The room started spinning. Your parents set you up, the PI continued. They knew she was 15. They instructed her to lie about her age. Then they paid her to accuse you of assault. Then they paid her again, $25,000 more to drop the accusation. Total of $40,000, all to Brittany. But why? I could barely get the words out. Why would they do this? Control, he said simply. They wanted leverage over you, something to hold over your head for the rest of your life. And it worked, didn't it? You've been paying them back, doing whatever they ask, never questioning them because you thought you owed them, because you thought they saved you. I felt like I was going to be sick. I've got all the documentation, the PI said. Bank records, text messages, timeline of events. It's all here. Question is, what do you want to do with it? I found Brittany's address through the PI's report. Spent 2 days working up the courage to go over there. Finally drove over on a Saturday morning. She answered the door in pajamas, coffee mug in hand. When she saw me, her face went white. She tried to close the door. Wait, I said quickly. I'm not here to hurt you or threaten you. I just need the truth, please. She stared at me for a long moment. Then her shoulders sagged. How did you find me? I hired a PI. I know about the payments. I know my parents set this up. I just need to hear you say it. She looked around like she was checking if anyone was watching. Come in. But you have to leave if I ask you to. Deal. We sat in her living room. She didn't look at me, just stared at her coffee mug, hands wrapped around it like she needed the warmth. Your parents contacted me about a month before that party, she started, through my aunt. My aunt and your mom were in some church group together. They said they needed help with something, family matter. Asked if I'd be willing to meet with them, and they offered me $15,000 to come to a BBQ and flirt with you. She finally looked at me. I was 15 years old. Do you know how much money that was to me? My family was broke. We were about to lose our house. $15,000 would have saved us. So you said yes. I said yes. Your mom coached me on exactly what to say, how to act. She told me you were her daughter and they needed to teach you a lesson about being more responsible, more dependent on family. She said it was harmless. Just flirt with you, maybe kiss you, make you think you had a chance with me. Then they'd tell you I was younger than you thought and you'd be scared straight. That's not what happened. I know, she said quietly. It went further than they planned. We hooked up in your car. I didn't tell them that part at first. Just said we kissed and exchanged numbers. What about the assault accusation? She flinched. That came 2 weeks later. Your mom called me, said the plan wasn't working. You weren't scared enough. She needed to make it more serious. Offered me another $25,000 to tell my parents that you'd forced yourself on me. Your parents knew? Not about the setup. I told them I'd met a woman at a party who I thought was my age, but turned out to be older. I said we'd hooked up, and I was freaking out because I realized afterward how old you were. I didn't tell them you forced me, but they freaked out anyway. Started talking about calling the police. How did my parents handle it? Your mom came over to talk to them. Told them that you'd go to prison if they involved the police, that it would ruin your life forever. She convinced them to accept a payment instead. Said it would avoid putting me through the trauma of a trial and a police investigation. She made it sound like she was doing it for my benefit, but nothing happened. I mean, it was consensual. You wanted to. You initiated it. I know, she said. That's why I felt like ma and kikanen about the whole thing. I was a kid who made a really terrible decision for money. I felt guilty about it for 7 years. But I spent that money, used it to save my parents' house, put some toward community college, built a life. Coming forward would have destroyed everything. They're blackmailing me now, I said, threatening to tell everyone about the accusation if I don't give my house to my sister. She looked up sharply. That's insane. Will you testify? If it comes to it, will you tell the truth about what actually happened? She thought for a long moment, took a sip of coffee, stared out the window. If you promise not to press charges against me, yes, I'll sign whatever you need. I'm tired of carrying this around anyway. I thought it was just about teaching you a lesson. I didn't realize your parents would use it to control you for years. Building the case took everything I had. I spent the next week putting together an airtight case with the PI and a lawyer Derek connected me with. The evidence was damning. Bank statements showing 2 payments from my parents to Brittany, $15,000 before the party, $25,000 after the accusation. Text message records between my mom and Brittany coordinating the setup, coaching her on what to say. Brittany signed a notarized affidavit admitting everything, laying out the timeline in detail. Documentation showing the payments happened before and after the accusation. Proof that no police report was ever actually filed. The PI checked the records. Recordings of my parents threatening to expose the accusation if I didn't give Emily my house. My lawyer looked over everything and whistled. This is fraud, extortion, conspiracy to commit fraud, witness tampering. Your parents could go to prison for this. Are you sure you want to do this? They ruined 7 years of my life, I said. Made me think I was a criminal. Made me pay them back $40,000 for saving me from something they created. And now they're trying to steal my house. Yeah, I'm sure. What about your relationship with them, with your sister? This will destroy your family. They destroyed it 7 years ago, I said. I'm just cleaning up the mess. The lawyer nodded. All right, let's burn it down. I invited my parents and Emily to my house, told them I wanted to discuss the arrangement for transferring the house to Emily, said I'd been thinking about it and wanted to work out the details. They showed up grinning like they'd already won. My mom brought a bottle of wine to celebrate. Emily had her phone out, already taking pictures of my living room for her Instagram. Justin was with her, measuring the walls. We're thinking of knocking out this wall, Emily said, gesturing. Open up the living room. Make it more modern. Great, I said. Why don't we all sit down first? We gathered in the living room. I had 3 folders on my coffee table, handed one to each of them. What's this? My dad asked. Open it. They did. I watched their faces go from confident to confused to terrified in about 30 seconds. Inside were copies of everything. The bank statements showing payments to Brittany, the text messages between my mom and Brittany, Brittany's affidavit laying out the entire scheme, the timeline showing how they'd orchestrated everything, recordings of their blackmail threats. I know what you did, I said calmly. I know you set me up 7 years ago. I know you paid Brittany to lie about her age, then paid her to accuse me of assault. I know you manufactured the entire thing to control me. My mom's hands were shaking. You can't. Where did you get this? Does it matter? It's all real. It's all documented, and it's all been turned over to the police. You're bluffing, my dad said, but his voice was weak. His face had gone pale. Am I? I pulled out my phone and showed them the email confirmation from the DA's office. I filed a police report 4 days ago. They've opened an investigation. Detectives will probably be contacting you Monday morning. You can't do this, my mom whispered. We're your parents. You stopped being my parents when you decided to frame me for sexual assault to control my life. Emily was reading through the folder, her face getting paler by the second. This can't be real. Mom, Dad, tell her this isn't real. It's real, I said. All of it. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave my house. You're going to stop contacting me. And you're going to deal with whatever legal consequences come from this. We were just trying to help you, my mom said, tears streaming down her face. You were so independent, so stubborn. We needed you to understand that you need family. You weren't trying to help me. You were trying to control me. You created a fake crisis so you could play the heroes who saved me. So I'd owe you forever. So you could hold it over my head anytime I didn't do exactly what you wanted. My dad stood up, trying to regain some authority. If you go through with this, you'll destroy this family. Is that what you want? You destroyed it 7 years ago, I said. I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth. We'll fight this, he said. We'll tell them you're lying, that you made all this up because you're bitter about Emily. With what evidence? I asked. I've got bank statements. I've got your text messages. I've got Brittany's testimony. What do you have? Lies you've been telling for 7 years? Justin, who'd been quiet this whole time, finally spoke up. This is messed up, ma'am. They're still your parents. Stay out of this, I said. This has nothing to do with you. It does if Emily loses her chance at this house because you're being petty. I laughed. Petty? They framed me for sexual assault. They made me live in fear for 7 years. They stole $40,000 from me, and now they're trying to steal my house. But I'm being petty? Emily started crying. Not the manipulative crying she usually did, but real ugly crying. I didn't know, she sobbed. I didn't know they did all that. I just knew about the accusation. But you were happy to use it against me, I said. You throw it in my face whenever you wanted something. You knew it hurt me, and you loved it. I thought you actually did something wrong, she said. I thought they saved you from going to prison for something you actually did. And you never asked me about it. Never gave me a chance to tell my side. She didn't answer. Get out, I said, all of you, and don't come back. My dad took a step toward me. You're making the biggest mistake of your life. No, I said. You made the biggest mistake of yours 7 years ago. I'm just making sure you pay for it. They left. My mom was sobbing. My dad was trying to maintain his dignity. Emily and Justin followed, Emily still clutching the folder like she couldn't believe what was in it. As they reached the door, my mom turned back one last time. Please don't do this. We're family. We're related, I corrected. There's a difference. My parents got arrested on a Tuesday morning. Multiple felonies, fraud, extortion, filing false reports. The DA basically threw the book at them. Their mugshots hit the local paper, and my dad looked like absolute tien. All that concern about appearances, gone. Bail was set at $100,000 each. They couldn't afford it. Emily predictably lost her goddamn mind and started a GoFundMe painting me as the villain. raised a whopping $340 before people started linking news articles in the comments. GoFundMe shut it down for TOS violations. Chef's kiss. Trial came 3 months later. Media ate it up. Parents framed daughter in control scheme. Brittany testified like a boss, explained the whole setup while their lawyer tried desperately to discredit her. Then my turn. I laid out 7 years of manufactured guilt, working 2 jobs to pay back $40,000 for something that never happened. The jury took 6 hours, guilty on everything. Dad got 18 months federal plus $50,000 in fines. Mom got 14 months plus $35,000. Both owed me full restitution, $40,000 plus another $30,000 in damages. Watching them get cuffed was therapeutic. Emily screamed when the verdict dropped. Literally screamed, got escorted out by bailiffs, cornered me in the hallway, slapped me, got banned from the courthouse. Then came weeks of texts, hateful, desperate, manipulative, blocked. 8 months later, parents are still locked up. I haven't visited, haven't written, haven't responded to their letters. Emily and Justin lost the house to foreclosure, ended up in a trailer park, both working real jobs for the first time in their lives. Him at a warehouse, her waitressing. She sent more nasty messages from a burner number, calling me a family-destroying piece of haw. I blocked her again and went about my day. Some people just need to learn actions have consequences.